I saw that you were saying that you don't think it's possible to have committed suicide in that cell. Obviously, we've been looking at what's going on here. There's this weird missing part of the tapes because the cameras mysteriously went out at the same time as the guards fell asleep. But you were in that cell. So tell us a little bit about what that cell actually was like.
Yeah, there always seems to be something mysteriously missing when it's for other people's convenience, but that wasn't my experience spending, several months in that same tier in that cell. And, first of all, this perfect storm of the cameras going down and the correctional officers not walking the tier. I never experienced that, Tudor, and I was in lockdown I spent 29 months in lockdown. So I have a lot of experience being in solitary, and that's what that tier is all about. And I've never witnessed anything like that, number one. The correctional officers are always walking the tier. As a matter of fact, I've said this many times, not to be offensive, but you're trying to use the toilet and they're opening the door, looking in on you constantly.
I heard you say that. I thought that was interesting because I think that, if you've never been in prison before, you think solitary is like you're by yourself and people bring you food and it's on a schedule and you are kind of alone. But to hear you talk about the fact that you're just kind of on display all the time. And I thought of that as we're hearing, who was it? Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who came out and was like, oh, these people that go to these holding centers, they have to brush their teeth while they go to the bathroom. Like, you're literally being watched while you go to the bathroom.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not constantly, don't get me wrong, that every time you do that, they're watching you, but quite often they do because they check on you a lot, especially if you're a high profile inmate like I was. So I know the drill, and there was times when I was next to the Menendez brothers. They were checking on us all the time. We didn't have any, and that was in a different facility, don't get me wrong. But I'm saying if you're a high profile inmate, especially, they're always checking on you. And, the cameras.
And he was on suicide watch.
Yeah, he was. Prior to this, he was on suicide watch for a while. So I know that they're going to give him even more attention. So to say that they weren't watching or they fell asleep or they were playing online shopping, whatever they claimed they were doing, and then the cameras go down at the same time, and then it just doesn't make sense, Tudor. And again, I've said I have no horse in this race. It doesn't matter to me either way what happened. But I just cannot believe that all of these things happened and nobody knows what happened with Epstein. That's number one. Number two, I don't know how he can commit suicide in that cell. I really don't. You'd have to be, I've said this so many times, midget, to try to do it because there's really nothing you can hang yourself from. It doesn't make any sense.
They say that there was a window high up and that there were bars on the window.
Well, you know what? So what? It's still difficult. And he didn't do it from the window. They claimed he did it from the bedpost.
Oh.
They showed the actual place where he did it from the bedpost. And you'd have to be trying to lay on the ground and pulling it yourself to try to choke yourself. There's just no way you can do it. You couldn't do it.
So that is because we talked to his attorney, Alan Dershowitz, about this, and he said, I think that he had to have had help from inside the prison, that somebody had to have helped him do this. And we said, well, okay, so how long was his sentence? I didn't have a whole lot of details on this case, so that's why I wanted to talk to Dershowitz, and he said, he hadn't been sentenced yet. He could have potentially been getting bail. He could have been getting out. And he was like, that's the weird thing. I don't know why he killed himself. But he said, these guys who've lived this high profile life and this very, highfalutin life, he's had anything he's ever wanted, private jets, he's got beautiful homes. Maybe it was just too much for him. I mean, what's your take on that?
I don't believe that also because, number one, he had skated an issue once before. Number two, I believe, just according to the information that's come out, I mean, this guy had videotapes on high profile people. He had people that he was definitely bribing, starting back with that Les Wexner. I believe he felt he'd get out of it again. Why would he commit suicide? The guy's been skating this for 20 some odd years. All of a sudden, now it's not going to happen. It just doesn't make sense. And yeah, I do believe that if there wasn't suicide, somebody had to come and assist him with that. There's no way he could have done it alone, Tudor. It just doesn't make sense.
It's really weird, but I mean, the timing of all of this coming out and these attacks on the president, it seems like a great distraction from what the president's doing right now. And to be honest, I I think that a lot of people have used this story to divide people. And is it worth dividing people on a story that is this old when you have so many good things happening with the country?
Well, my only issue with that, Tudor, of course, the people on the left neglect to say that this whole investigation was done during the Biden administration and nothing
Yeah.
came out then. But obviously, that's conveniently forgotten because anytime they can attack Trump, they will. But, I think the important issue here is I had a fellow by the name of Paul Hutchinson on my podcast, and he was the one in the movie Sound of Freedom. He financed the movie. It was his character that went and rescued those 51 or 52 young girls at that time that was seen in the movie. He's dedicated the past 10 years of his life to helping these sex trafficking victims. And some of the things he told me, Tudor, were just so atrocious, the way they treat these young girls, the way they have a menu of, sexual services that these young girls will perform for money. And, this Epstein was at the height of this, and there were other elitist people involved in this, people with power. And we have to stop this. These people have to be held accountable for abusing young children, both male and female. So
Well,
my
okay.
thing is, this has to come out. You can't just sweep this under the rug.
I have a question for all my friends and followers. Have you tried my wine yet? In the last 2 years, we've made tremendous progress with Franzese wine, and it's really all thanks to your support, and obviously because people are finding out we have a great wine at a great price. In 2025, we aim to become a national brand, and I want all of you to be a part of it. Every bottle you buy, every story you share builds more than a brand. It fuels a movement. The story of our wine is one of people having second chances and of lives being transformed. That's the truth. So go to my website, franzesewine.com, and get your bottle today. Salud, my friends.